Howdy everyone, welcome back, and today we'll be going over Blender. Blender is a slightly different from our usual videos, and it's more on the 3D modeling side, not so much CAD design. It's for general sculpting and more fluid motion, and not specific mechanical designs. So when you open up Blender, you'll be prompted with this UI, and you'll have any recent files that you've made here. You can also open files, recover a previous section, and then you have your types of modeling here. For now, we'll just start out with General. So clicking General, it'll set us with our dialog here. You use your middle mouse button to rotate around, and Shift mouse button to pan around. You can also use these dialog boxes here to zoom in or zoom out. To zoom in, you move your mouse forward, and to move out, you move your mouse backward. You also have your pan button. You move your mouse in a circular direction, and it copies your direction of movement. You also have your rotational dialog here. If you click here, you can rotate your mouse to rotate around the UI. And you can also click on specific points to switch to an orthographic view of those specific points. Once you start rotating normally with your middle mouse button, it'll switch to perspective view. You'll see three objects in your workspace upon opening it. You'll see your cube, your light, and your camera. Ignore the light and camera for now, we'll show those in a very future tutorial. But for now, we'll go over some basic mechanics in Blender. So you left click to click on an object. And to add objects, you can press Shift A on your keyboard, and you have Mesh, Curve, Surface, Metaball, Text, Volume, and Grease Pencil. You also have a few more items that you can add, but for now we'll just stick to meshes. You can add a plane, and to move it around, you can click G on your keyboard and move your mouse around. If you right click, it'll set it right back to its original spot. Or you can left click to set the placement. When you set the placement, you'll see a dialog box here where you can open it and set directional movements. You can move on the x-axis. By moving to the right, you increase the value, and by moving your mouse to the left, you decrease the value. Again, with your y-axis, if you move your mouse to the right, it increases the value, and if you move your mouse to the left, it decreases the value. And same thing with the z-axis. With orientation, just stick to global. I'll explain some of these more options in a future tutorial. And proportional editing we won't touch for right now. Again, I'll touch that in a future tutorial. You can click off to end the dialog. And now you can see we have two objects on our work plane. If you want to select multiple objects, you can click on your first object and shift click to click on your next object. Your first object will be highlighted in a more orange tone, and your second object will be highlighted in a more yellow tone. You can select as many objects as you want, and you can also select them by moving to this pane here. This pane here has a few options where you can see all of your objects. If you click on your light, you can see it highlights our light, and if we click on our plane, you can see it highlights our plane. It'll also tell you the type of object that you have with these green buttons here. And then you can show and hide certain objects by clicking on the eyeballs here. So you can hide our plane so we won't see it, or we can show our plane so we will. This is good if you have multiple objects in your workspace. If you want to sculpt one object, this is good. Another key note when you're rotating around, it has an imaginary point of origin right in the center of your workspace. So when you center an object, make sure you center it as much as possible in the middle of your viewport. That way when you rotate around it, it'll rotate exactly to the center. That's all for today, and I'll show some more advanced tutorials coming soon on Blender, Fusion 360, and Tinkercad. Remember to like and subscribe, and check out my locals community in the description.